Okay, so it's 10 after 4. It's been a long day. It's 82 degrees and sunny outside. It's dark and 45 degrees in here. I'm following two guys who've talked about Lady Gaga and Taylor Swift. And I'm told that I'm the only thing standing between this group and a free cocktail at a bar around the corner. So I will move through this presentation with alacrity. It's great to be here. Congratulations to Al and Megan and the whole team for putting on this district conference. Very, very well done. We're really glad to see it. And we're happy to be here. So I guess I just hit what here? How do I do this? Oh, okay. So just a couple of quick things here from some of our research about the industry. One piece of good news, you probably know this already, but you are in a growing field, a field with lots of opportunity. And we're really happy about that. It's growing all over the country, fastest in Southwest, Southeast, and Northern California. As I said here, you don't have to live in New York, but it does help. It's growing in New York City as well in the Northeast. So the strategic communications field is growing, and it's expected to continue to grow as more and more organizations understand and realize the importance of strategic communications and how it affects and advances their business objectives. It's an ever-evolving role. You know, I've been with PRSA now. It's coming up on 2 years in January. That's gone pretty quickly. And I've traveled all over the country, and I've met with a number of our members and professionals at chapter meetings and district events, events like this all around the country. One of the things I was told when I started here was, do not use the phrase, a seat at the table. We're already at the table. Forget that. That's yesterday's news. We're at the table already. Okay, if we're at the table, what are we doing at the table? But here it is on this slide. Then was seat at the table, measurement challenges. Now act as a lead discipline, analytics. Think like a journalist, publicist, CEO, CMO. The 60-second news cycle is something that you all are familiar with. News travels very, very quickly now, and professional communicators are needed now more than ever. And again, that's really good news for all of us in the profession. So how do we see this moving forward? Well, we see professionals with a heightened role in the strategic process, and that really is a change. Some of you may know a little bit about my background just very quickly. I'm happy to be here at NYU. I've been teaching as an adjunct here since 2001. I started in the graphic communications program. That's my background. I now teach in the integrated marketing program. I teach C-Suite, a course called Executive Leadership. And this semester, I'm teaching finance for marketing decisions. You should see these poor integrated marketing majors when I have to teach them finance. So tonight we're doing discounted cash flow. So if you want to come, it's 610. We're at 7 East 12th Street, and you're all invited. Actually, have a couple of drinks first. It may help. But when we talk about business acumen in the C-suite, this is something that we're really focused on here. PRSA has a very robust learning management system that we've developed. It's a computer-based learning system, and we're going to be adding more programs to this, not just programs that you would typically find in a PR-oriented curriculum. We'll have those too. They're still needed. But what are we looking to add? Something different, more and more around general business acumen. For example, basic finance. Yeah, there it is, I said it. Basic finance. You know, we don't want you sitting at that table, now they're at that table, and when the financials are presented, your eyes glaze over, and you secretly say to yourself, I can't wait for this part of the meeting to be over. And I hope nobody asks me a question. No, we have to understand a little bit about business acumen, a little bit about, so we're teaching basic finance, value-based sales presentations, project management, and this one, which I hear a lot in terms of a need, supervisory skills for the new manager. How many of you within the last, say, 2 to 3 years have changed job responsibilities where you now have people reporting to you? Anybody? It's fun, isn't it? You know, it's like having people report. Yeah, I was talking to Ray Kotzer, the non-executive chairman of Ketchum. We did a broadcast down in Washington, D.C. at the National Press Club a couple weeks ago, and we got to talking about these things, and we agreed that if it wasn't for the customers and employees, business would be really a lot of fun. When you start having people report to you, it's a whole different set of disciplines. It's a whole different set of understandings, and we're not trained for that. So we're going to help our members as they advance through their career. Naturally, you're going to assume a larger set of responsibilities. That's going to include people, coaching, mentoring, training, motivating, a whole new set of skills which we'll be rolling out for you as part of this. Just quickly by the numbers, we have 22,000 members, 110 chapters all over the country. We have 11,000 student members in PRSA. I met a couple of PRSA folks earlier, 10 districts. This is one of them. We have 14 professional interests You see some of the demographics in terms of how our membership lays out. Our goals, we're going to be, we leave tomorrow for our international conference. It starts with our delegate assembly and our leadership rally, where we bring in all the chapter leaders from the 110 chapters, and we talk to them about what it's like to be a chapter leader and what we're doing at National to help them. And we'll also be revealing our strategic plan for the next 3 years. It includes membership development, professional development, thought leadership, and organizational excellence. We've done an awful lot of research. I'm a big believer in numbers. I know people cringe about that. And again, I will confess my bias readily. In my prior life, I led a very robust business advisory consulting service. We did this in the printing, graphic communications, and digital marketing space for entrepreneurial business owners. And we'd go in and do organizational assessment for these companies. And we go around, we talk to people, and we'd ask them about their jobs and what they're doing and try to get a better understanding of organizational flow and responsibilities. Every once in a while, we'd come across an employee who would say, well, you know, it's really hard to measure my job. And my standard response was, oh, well, actually, that's good news. We may not need you. I mean, if you cannot measure how you're contributing value to the organization, you know, that's a bit of a problem. Everything can be measured. The only variable is over what period of time is the measurement effective, right? And so we talk about that, so numbers are important. So we do a lot of research, and we've done extensive research, not just among our members, but of former members, of people who've never been members, of the industry overall. We've looked at agencies, organizations, nonprofits, higher education, to get a sense of where communications is going and where PRSA's role is likely to be in the future. And here's what we found. Not surprisingly, members want access, learning, and networking. And the second one is very, very important to me. We just hired a new chief communications officer back in March, and one of our mandates is the second one. PRSA should really communicate strongly the value of PR and strategic communication, but to organizational leaders. We spend a lot of time communicating that message, but to who? To us. We get it. We know this. We've got to redirect that message toward business and organizational leaders so that they understand at a very, very high level the contribution that's made by our members day in and day out. And I will tell you, as I've traveled around the country, I just can't tell you how impressed I am with the unique value that's created by our members each and every day for their stakeholders. It's dramatic, it's important, and that's a message that we aim to get out. Most members are satisfied. I'll talk about that real quickly in a second. Online resources are valuable. We're adding to those as well. I talked about that already. We have Jay Starr. I just want to say a quick hello. Jay is our Senior VP of Member Services. One of the first things we did, we want to get closer to our members. We hired 3 regional reps, Mindy Hughes, Dave Shank, and Don Mounts. So they are actually employees of ours in the field. You know, it's kind of hard to run a far-flung organization like PRSA with 110 chapters all over the country from Lower Manhattan. We have a great staff down there, but we want to get out into the field. We made a couple of other changes, moved professional development as a member service under Jay. Janine Garcia is now full-time executive director of PRSA. I mentioned that before. 11,000 students. Can you imagine that? I don't know too many organizations that can claim 11,000 students as part of the membership. And I mentioned Laura Kane as our new CCO. I mentioned a strategic plan led by a guy named Harrison Kerber, who's been doing this for a long time, wrote a seminal book about associations and the challenges they're facing, not just PRSA and not just professional societies, but trade associations as well, in a book called Race for Relevance. Here's some of his quotes. Most associations are tradition-driven, slow to change, and risk-averse. More than ever, the way associations become successful is help their members do the same. And research tells us members want to be smarter, better prepared, more connected through all phases of their career. And their needs change as they advance through the career. The needs of a young professional are markedly different than someone who's been at this for 20 or 25 years. That's just the way it goes, and it makes sense. Associations risk disenfranchising their most progressive members. Think No Member Left Behind. I was talking to a colleague some years ago who was telling me that they didn't do anything online because a couple of their past presidents weren't comfortable with technology yet. Can you imagine that? What does that say for some of the more progressive members? Competition for members' time and attention will increase mostly from non-traditional and for-profit entities. Think LinkedIn and lynda.com. You know, LinkedIn bought lynda.com. I think they paid like $3 billion. And who bought LinkedIn? Microsoft. You want to know why? They want to go after Salesforce.com. They just can't stand the fact that Salesforce.com made an end run around them. And think about what they have in LinkedIn. What's on LinkedIn? Anybody here not on LinkedIn? And what do they have on LinkedIn? All of our profile information. We give it willingly. They know a lot about us. Think about the power of that data as a sales tool. So now when you're part of the LinkedIn sales application and you're going to a meeting, all you do is key in the names of the people who are going to be in that room, and what pops up? Their complete profile, where they went to college, what they like to do, how long they've been in their current job, the jobs they had before that. Think about the power of this data. Really, really something. Point is, if LinkedIn wanted to make a run at becoming a community of professionals in any particular vertical, they could do it like that. So we have to be aware of this. We have to move faster, we've got to be smarter, and we've got to focus on our unique strengths and set aside the things that are maybe nice to do, but really aren't going to help us build our bigger and better future. Robust technology framework. Members will increasingly have little patience for outmoded technology. I'm happy to say we'll be unveiling our new website, finally. We have moved off cold fusion technology, finally. It's painful, slow, tangled, but we're doing it, and we'll be showing this at our international conference here in Indianapolis in just a few days. Our technology strategy is driven by our strategy, and it's mobile first. People go on the internet using this. They don't sit at their desks and do it anymore, and so we have to have the same thing. I call it the 3 C's: content, connectivity, and commerce. Searchable database of relevant content, that will be part of our application. We rolled out Smart Brief earlier in the year. We had 10,000 sign-ons within 90 days. And the Higher Logic application, if you haven't been on my PRSA yet, I encourage you to do it. It's a great tool. It's fueled by Higher Logic. You can ask questions, share documents. We've gotten the greatest application and the greatest usage in terms of new members going on it. The company that does this, called Higher Logic, they've been doing this for membership organizations for about 8 or 10 years now. They've never seen an application rate as fast, or a sign-on rate as fast as what we're seeing. Our members love to talk to each other, they love to share information, share best practices, and this is happening at my PRSA. If you haven't done it yet, I encourage you to do that. Content-driven lead generation. We have a lot of people interested in what we do, and we're hoping to convert them into membership. And I mentioned memberships, right? Linkages to the strategic plan, dashboard, real-time feedback using EKG, and I'm just going to touch on this briefly. Again, I said I'm a big believer in data, and I am. We use a tool called EKG Competitive Edge Profile. What does that mean? Well, it measures what we're doing along 3 dimensions. First, it's a satisfaction survey. Satisfaction surveys aren't wrong, but they're woefully incomplete, and I will tell you why. Satisfaction alone is not a predictor of loyalty. You could have the most satisfied member in the world, and they could not renew, or the most satisfied customer, and they can defect. Why? Well, maybe they got a better offer. Satisfaction doesn't matter. What matters is relative satisfaction. Right? We know that when we're shopping for boots. If Macy's doesn't have them, where do we go? We go to Nordstrom's, right? The logical choice. Satisfaction, it's like saying the Jets, Jay's a Jets fan. Let's say the Jets scored 20 points. Actually, they scored 3 last night, was it? But let's say they scored 17 points. Is that good? I don't know. What did the other team score, right? It's relative satisfaction, your relative score. As I used to tell my clients, value is the distance between you and your competitors as measured by your customers. And people will pay a premium for unique value. So it's real important we know not only how satisfied are our members with what we're doing, how much do they like it compared to their best alternative, and the third dimension is how important is it to them. And so all this rolls up into a competitive index, and we'll be sharing more information with you about this as we go forward, and we'll be benchmarking. And the most effective benchmarking, I believe, is when you benchmark against yourselves rather than competition. Competition matters, you got to keep an eye on them, but benchmarking should be against just you. I mentioned coming up our PRSA International Conference. It's this week in Indianapolis. The hotel's sold out. That's nice. Leadership Rally is coming up a little bit later on. A couple of other quick initiatives. Our PRSA Foundation, we've got a wonderful close relationship with them. Our PRSA board is approving funding of $100,000 per year to assist the foundation with their diversity-related initiatives. I should add to you, I mentioned PRSSA. We've identified 32 historically black colleges and universities, and we'll be doing a personal outreach to them because they should be PRSSA chapters. It's just that they've never been invited before. And so we have a very particular outreach that we're going to do there because we feel the more we can talk to students about the wonderful career opportunities that await them in PR and strategic communications, the more we'll have a stronger industry and, we hope, a stronger PRSA. We have a lot of support that we're rolling out for chapters, districts, and sections. More about that maybe another time. So that's a real quick update about some of the things we're doing. A lot of research about the industry and competencies that will be needed for PR and strategic communications professionals. It's our aim at PRSA to be out in front of that And some of what you see, you might kind of scratch your head a little bit and say, really? Finance for public relations professionals? Well, give it a chance. Basic finance, you're going to need to know that. Basic business acumen. Sales skills. I was actually told here when I came here and I put an internal dashboard together, I had a category called sales and service target. And I was told that, maybe they shouldn't use the word sales. Our folks don't, sorry, nothing happens till a sale is made. So sales are part of it, and sales acumen is part of it too. So is project management, supervisory skills. You get the idea. You'll be seeing some very non-traditional courses and materials coming out from PRSA because our research is telling us this is what our members want, and thankfully, they prefer to get it from us. So it's drink time. I want to thank Megan. I want to thank all you guys for hanging in there. Give yourselves a hand for hanging in there all day. Thank you very much.